Welcome to Business World. I'm your host Siddharth, and on today's edition of BW Hotwires, we are talking to Mr. Siddharth Bhushan Khurana, Managing Director, Stud Helmets. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me there.
So let's start this conversation with COVID, the big pandemic that we all are suffering. Sir, tell us how COVID pandemic has affected Studs Helmets business operation.
I think like for every industry, COVID had a big impact to start with. The first couple of months, because of lockdown, all businesses were closed. So there was a big drop in the first quarter. But I think fortunately for us, the two-wheeler industry is starting to pick up. The main reason is that people do not want to use any public transport because of COVID. And as such, they are preferring to buy new motorcycles or used motorcycles. So we are actually seeing a pickup also on the resale side of motorcycles. And it's almost like now the markets are back to normal, the two-wheeler markets. It's maybe not the same for the four-wheeler market, but two-wheeler market, I'll give you an example, like a parking lot very close to one of our factories used to be half full with motorcycles earlier, and the rest was empty. Now we see it's completely full with motorcycles. So people are actually aggressively going on the buying of motorcycles.
Absolutely correct. So what do you think about this whole personal mobility picking up and shared mobility going down? So do you think this is a positive for helmet manufacturers?
Yes, I think as far as shared mobility is concerned, that's a big setback for that sector, to be honest. If you see, there was a CBS journalist, Neena Kapoor, who died, I think about 3 days ago in New York. She was not wearing a helmet, and she was using a shared moped from some company. So basically, the apprehensions of people of not sharing helmets is becoming a big factor in terms of shared mobility as far as two-wheelers are concerned, and that's gonna stay for quite some time. As far as personal two-wheelers are concerned, I think that's globally we are seeing there's a huge pickup. For example, I was talking to my Dutch distributor, and he says in Holland that they're seeing huge pickup in scooter market, which is 50cc and below. And that's because nobody wants to use any public transport, even some of the developed world. So I think globally, two-wheelers will see a huge boom next couple of years globally.
So two-wheelers seeing a boom is a good thing for the industry, but at the same time for helmet industry, but in India, people would buy a two-wheeler but not prefer to wear a helmet. So what is your take on this? I mean, what kind of policies do we need? And as an OEM, what kind of initiatives are you taking in generating awareness about safety?
So first, the penetration of helmets in India is increasing. If you look 10 years ago, the penetration across rural and urban markets was very low in India. Now I think that has picked up. I don't have the official data, but I'm sure there's almost like a 20% increase in terms of penetration of helmets. Obviously, the helmet production has gone up multi-folds in last 5 years. That's also another data point which shows that the penetration is increasing. Now, I think to further increase, so India spends, there is a WHO report of 2014 which says that the cost to the country is about 3% of the GDP for treating road accident patients. So it's not only the immediate treatment, but it's like if somebody goes into a vegetative state, his life cost for the entire life, all those things. So they calculated it and they put the figure at 3% of GDP. Now, if we take last year's GDP of India, we are talking about $60 billion are spent on treating road accident patients in India. For sure, the government focus is there, and it's there to the extent that it's never been there to this level. I hear Mr. Gadkari saying that they are putting a lot of focus and implementing new strategies, and I think on the ground it's kind of making an effect as well. But two things for sure, it gives a big impact as far as safety is concerned. So helmets in two-wheelers and cars and seat belts in cars. So obviously seat belts they have been able to implement quite well in the country. Helmets is still far off, and I think it's more of enforcement. The laws are always there, right? So you have the Motor Vehicles Act, which says that every two-wheeler rider has to wear a helmet. But I think the enforcement on the ground needs to be better, and that can help us save a lot of lives. For example, last year there were total 1.45 lakh deaths in India due to road accidents, out of which I think about 30 or 35% was two-wheeler deaths, and out of that, almost 80% were not wearing helmets. So you could have saved actually 50,000 lives by implementing the helmet enforcement, I would say.
So that's a great point, but I think seat belts are a very low involvement product because it's already present in the car.
Yeah.
Helmets on the other side is something which you will have to go out and actually purchase. And even in India, I feel people are not too keen on buying a safe helmet, buying a helmet with which would actually protect you, but they would actually go on price. So what are your thoughts on bringing the safety features or bringing a safe helmet at an affordable cost?
So first, I would like to address the point of seat belts being, it was always present in the car. It's not that it's been incorporated now. It is only once the enforcement took place, people started wearing seat belts. I'm sure you and me never used to wear seat belts ourselves till the time it was enforced. Now you see everybody wearing. So I think it's more of a human psychology that helmets has another, if I am a bike rider, anything on your head is a weight that you have to manage, and it feels a little uncomfortable. You can make a 800, 700 gram helmet, but still it's some weight on your neck. So till the time the government enforces it, people are not going to wear it. And I don't think cost is a big apprehension in the mind of people, because we are talking about today the helmets are available at 700 rupees, 750 rupees. Now if you consider it as a cost of the two-wheeler is at 50,000. So we are talking about 1.5%, which is actually negligible. So I don't think cost is such a big factor. It's more of enforcement. If the enforcement is there, for sure people will start wearing it and buying it as well.
Great. So now talking about enforcement, I'm again on the policy front as well.
Yeah.
Sir, in UP, I stay in Noida. So in UP, you cannot refuel your two-wheeler if you're not wearing a helmet.
Right.
So the petrol pump will just not give you the fuel. So do you think policies like this has to be encouraged more for awareness?
Yeah, to be honest, I know on the ground, when people go to buy fuel, they would pick up a helmet from their home and still not wear it, right? So you would have a helmet at your home, but not wearing it. So I think to save life, helmet buying is not important, helmet wearing is important. And that's where the enforcement comes in. We can have a lot of strategies and policies around buying of a helmet. Like the government said in Kerala, you cannot buy a motorcycle without a helmet. Helmet has to be necessarily given to the rider, but still it doesn't mean that he's gonna wear it. So I think we have been going around this issue for quite a long time, but if we are seriously to save lives in the country, we need to make sure that people wear helmets. Even honestly, anything on your head, any kind of helmet is much safer than going bareheaded.
So now Bureau of Indian Standards has recently come out with a new policy. What are your thoughts on those?
I think it's a fantastic change what they've done. So earlier they had brought in the new BIS standard, wherein they had capped the weight of the helmet. Now, because of that cap, you could not actually sell helmets which meet the EC and the DOT standards. A lot of people in India do motorsport events, and also they do high-speed biking as well. So those people were at big risk if these helmets were not available. So we also made a representation to the government that you should not cap the weight of the helmet. Rather, it is the customer's choice, and every customer wants to buy the lightest possible helmet. So it's actually that people will prefer lighter helmets, and manufacturers to buy to produce lighter helmets. And then the government agreed, and they've come out with this amendment to the standard. And I think we're completely ready for this. And I heard recently that they are talking about a quality control order wherein ISI mark will become mandatory for manufacturing, selling, and wearing of helmets. So you cannot actually manufacture a helmet also without an ISI mark. So now you have all kind of helmets available in India, whether it's manufactured in India or coming from outside India. The best of quality is available. Let people decide on what is right for them. So I'm completely in agreement with what the government has done.
Right. So now there is a current trend of anti-China, boycott China. At the same time, the government is pushing Make in India and self-reliance. So tell us what are the takeaways of these things?
So I see a bigger global impact already happening actually. So we see a lot of customers moving from China to other countries for manufacturing. So we've already signed 3 contracts. I cannot disclose the name right now, but we've already signed 3 contracts with companies who are moving their. At the moment, they're moving 80% or 50%. Some is moving. One of the manufacturers is moving 50%, the other one 80%. But phase-wise, they want to move out of China and completely be independent of China. So that's where I think India is going to grab a big chunk of that. So I think the 3 countries which are going to compete for this global market share is Indonesia, Vietnam, and India. And the basic reason is all these 3 markets have a very strong domestic market. So you have bigger manufacturers. The other markets don't have bigger manufacturers, so they cannot actually fulfill their global market demands. So that's where the first impact of this, I would say, COVID anti-China sentiment is coming. From the domestic perspective, the first thing after the COVID and the Atmanirbhar scheme of the government we did was to stop all raw material imports from China. So we already stopped and developed everything in India. Although it was not a very large chunk, it was only about 4% of our total raw material was coming in from China, which we have completely stopped and started everything in India. Also, I think in the recent past, we have seen that there is a lot of, I would say, respect for Indian manufactured goods globally. And there's a huge demand, and realizing which we have put a huge investment also for manufacturing. We just recently started a new manufacturing facility, which is about 3 weeks ago. And we have invested close to about $27 million, so about 180 crores into the project. And we have doubled our capacity. So we used to manufacture about 7 million helmets earlier. Now we have a capacity of 14 million helmets, which is by far the largest in the world. The largest capacity, second largest capacity in the world right now is about 6.5 million. So we are 14 million, more than double the second largest. And we have also invested heavily into R&D recently. So earlier the R&D was always into mechanical R&D, helmet safety, helmet design. Now we have started a wing for electronic R&D within helmets. So smart helmets with cameras, with Bluetooth. We currently have helmets with Bluetooth, but I think shortly in a few months, we'll also be launching helmets with cameras where when you're riding on the motorcycle, it takes your voice commands. So you say record, it will start recording on the iCloud or on a micro SD card. So those kind of R&D investments also we are doing. And I think this will take us to the next level in terms of global acceptance and respect as well. So we are very confident that India and Indian manufactured goods will do extremely well globally. We are already seeing that currently.
So you spoke about some helmets coming out with cameras and Bluetooth. Yeah. Now, India is also seeing a lot of traction in high capacity bikes, which are expensive. Yeah. So an expensive bike demands an expensive helmet. Obviously, you're doing high speed runs. Yeah. So when are we going to see a helmet from an Indian manufacturer like you, which can actually compete with, say, Arai helmets or Shoei helmets, one of the top of the line helmets? When do we see this?
Actually, we launched a new brand in 2016 called SMK Helmets, which is available right now in most of the countries in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. For example, in Europe, we are there in Germany, France, Holland, Italy. So all the big brands of the world we are competing against. We are the only manufacturer out of India to compete against these guys. And I can proudly tell you that we are already, for example, Philippines, we already have a 13% market share in Philippines on helmets. In Europe, we are still about 5% of the market share, but 5% is still a very large number. I think currently we do more volumes than Arai in Europe, but Shoei is much larger. So I think we are just a 4-year-old brand in Europe and other markets, but growing very, very quickly in these markets. And I think we're already there. I don't need to say that we would be there. We're already there. It's only a matter of acceptability, and people in those countries had never seen goods coming out of India, accessories for motorcycles at least. Even to be honest, two-wheelers, I would not say Royal Enfield entered only 4-5 years ago. So we entered the same time. I think the same year we entered Europe market. So it's only a matter of time that when people have the confidence of made in India goods, because when the first time we launched the brand in EICMA 2016, which is the biggest motorcycle show globally. So I remember the first guy walks into our booth and he says, so where are these helmets manufactured? I said, India. He says, no, you don't manufacture, you buy it from China. I said, no, we manufacture it in India. He said, I thought India is all about snakes and elephants. This was a guy from Israel, right? So to be honest, we realized that it's a black box for them. It's Oriental, they don't know what to expect. So it's only a matter of time. And I think with the resolve that Indians have and the way we are moving, we should do pretty well, all of us.
So now, what's your take on the products that come into India from China in terms of helmets? Counterfeit products, cheap products, and not so reliable products, but they are affordable because they are from China. So what is your take on this?
Okay, so helmet market is fortunately a very different market where India is cheaper than China. So China is not able to penetrate India. So Indian motorcycle helmet market is about 24 million right now per year, out of which China imports, I think, are less than 40,000. So you're talking about 0.1%, 0.12%, it's like negligible. And even globally we realize China is more expensive. And the simple reason is that helmet industry is a very labor intensive industry globally, whether it's Japan or Germany or China. So the salaries and the wages in India are less than China. And as a result, you are more competitive. The only thing I think we always lagged when it was China versus India was the technology front, where I think the gap is still there, but it's closing very fast.
Now my question is about the labor intensive work that you said.
Yeah.
So are you affected by the recent labor migration that happened during the COVID situation?
Yeah, we were initially affected because when we reopened, so actually we reopened our factory only 10 days after the lockdown, because we were manufacturing face shields for the COVID warriors, and we're still manufacturing those. So initially we faced some problems, but currently I can tell you we are back to full employment. Everybody is joined back. Yeah, maybe some people have gone back. I would say 20% of the people haven't returned. So we had to change those people with people who were locally available. But we don't see any shortage of manpower right now. In fact, if you want to employ 400 people tomorrow, there's no shortage of manpower, at least in Haryana and locally in this area. And we are currently, I think, employing about slightly over 2,000 people. And in next 1 year, I think our manpower strength would reach to about 2,800.
So now let's talk about the new technologies that would be coming into the Indian helmets going forward. Now you spoke about cameras and Bluetooth. What about structural safety or whatever, sir? If you could shed some light.
Helmets, actually, the development which is happening around helmets is in two directions. One is around safety, where you're playing with more materials, making helmets lighter, thinner. The second is happening more around the electronic side of the helmets. So as far as the electronic side of the helmet, Bluetooth, intercoms, cameras, then we're working also on something called as a bone conduction technology, which comes from the military side, because in military, when you are on the war front and there's firing happening, Bluetooth doesn't work because there's so much of noise. The soldiers cannot hear each other on the Bluetooth because of the noise of the firing. So there's a technology called bone conduction, wherein the speakers of the Bluetooth system, they vibrate, and your sensory, I would say, your brain signals convert those vibrations into audible signals. So that's called bone conduction technology. That's also, there's already a couple of companies working on this. We are also working on this. So on the electronic side, then you also have people having Bluetooths with lights and indicators on the helmet, LED lights, all that stuff. So that's happening more on the electronic side. On the structural safety side, it's more to do with materials to replace the outer shell and the EPS. So EPS, which is expanded polystyrene, in normal terms we call it thermocol. That is the main safety equipment of the helmet. Now, people are trying to change EPS to different materials, and also in Europe we have a new standard coming up called the ECE 2206, which is the new homologation standard, and the focus has completely changed there from linear deceleration to rotational deceleration on testing. So earlier you used to measure the deceleration of a head. I mean, when you meet an accident, you decelerate very fast. So you used to always measure linear deceleration. But most of the scientists say that people die more than 50% of the cases due to rotational deacceleration, although the linear is very, very low. So now all the work is going around rotational deacceleration. So you have companies like MIPS. MIPS is a new system in helmets wherein it reduces your rotational deacceleration, or rotational force, you can say, during an impact. So I see going forward, in a few years, all the focus on motorcycle safety or motorcycle helmet safety will move towards rotational deacceleration and how to reduce those. So at the moment, India doesn't have rotational deacceleration in the standard, but BIS might come out, not anytime future, but maybe 4 or 5 years, we might see that standard in India as well.
Sir, you spoke about expanding into new product line, maybe apparels and everything. Yeah. So what other expansion plans do you have? More factories, more touch points? What is the game plan for this year?
So I think we have developed a very large manufacturing capacity with the new plant. Our so two-wheelers, total global two-wheeler production is about 62 million. And we have a 14 million helmet capacity. So that's almost like, as compared to motorcycles, we are talking about a 22-23% capacity on helmets. Although helmets have a very small replacement cycle, so you have a bigger market for sure. But I think our main focus right now is in two areas. One is retail in India and distribution globally. So in India, I think we have already opened about 8 EBOs, which are more franchisees. So exclusive brand outlets, and going forward, we will open more exclusive brand outlets. And we feel that also we are going to put more focus into retail data and customer data at the retail touchpoint. And that's because the connect with the customer and his choices, it's a very dynamic industry actually, helmets. The fashions change in helmets like they change in clothing. So if you are not in touch with the customer and his requirements, you can be actually left behind pretty quickly. So as a policy, we have decided to be actually very aggressive in retail. And in terms of global distribution, we have now distributors in over 70 countries, both brands put together, Studs and SMK. And we prefer to work in this mode. We don't want to set up factories outside India, at least right now. So we will work through the importer route and work very closely with these importers to understand the markets, their behaviors. For example, the behaviors in Brazil are completely different than Germany. The color likings, the shape of the helmet. So you actually need to develop helmets for different markets. And unfortunately or fortunately in our industry, head shapes vary across markets. So when you go to Brazil or you go to Japan, the same helmet for the same head size. So there are two things, size and shape. You can have the same size, but the person in Brazil and person in Japan would have completely different head shapes, and the same helmet size will not fit them. Similarly in India, if you go to Bihar and you go to Kerala, the head shapes are completely different. So I think it's more complicated, and that's why we have more than 12,000 SKUs in our product range, which is very, very large. So if you are in touch with the markets and the consumer base, you can actually be much ahead of the game or the curve, I can say.
Sir, helmets. I'm a biker also, so I know helmets. Mein, sir, how much of importance is given to the graphics on the outside of the helmet?
For a customer, graphics would form almost like 65% of his choice, unfortunately. He has no clue of safety, and to be honest, safety is a perception, whether it's helmets or if I talk about a car, right? Today, between a Mercedes and a Tesla, both are very nice cars, people would always say Mercedes is safer. You have no test results, it's only the life of the brand and the longevity of the brand. So similarly with helmets, I think people just come into shops to buy helmets with a pre-decided mind that, okay, these couple of brands I want to look at, and then they will go into the shape and the graphics. But the eye is such, your brain motors work with the eye more fast than your brain works otherwise. So you look at the helmet, you like it, and you take it. You don't see how it fits. People are not so conscious about the fit. Okay, you would be, because you are a biker as such. You're a connoisseur of motorcycles and helmets. But I'm talking about the general people. Now, when I look at bikers like you, they would look at everything. First, they will look at the reviews. They will Google, they will look at the reviews. Globally, what are these brands? And then they will look at the helmet. For you guys, maybe graphic come the last. I don't know how it works, but that's how I see it. For you, safety is number one. Your style and personality is number two. And then the colors and the graphics are number three. For example, I know a lot of people, they don't want any brand on the helmet. And they want something exclusive which nobody else has.
Correct, sir. But then there is this aspect of awareness as well. Like a helmet has to fit you tightly with your cheeks going up. And the helmet also should have a pin lock system, which actually avoids fogging. So this kind of awareness, what is your take on, generating more awareness around buying a safe helmet for the customers?
I think first, because the kind of helmets sometimes which are sold in India, our first focus is that to let people know that you buy a BIS certified helmet. That is actually the basic minimum. Pin lock and everything is only for the high-end bikers like you guys. And I think that's a different marketing strategy, wherein, for example, pin lock, you know pin lock very well. And we were the first ones to bring in pin lock in India, right? Now, you would definitely Google it and see what pin lock is and get more convinced that I should buy it. I think for people like you, our strategy is more to focus on the features of our helmets vis-a-vis the features in other helmets. For example, I'll give you the biggest difference between us and any other manufacturer in India or in Asia for that matter. We produce our own EPS. No other manufacturer in Asia produces their own EPS. And EPS is the heart of the helmet. So if you're not controlling the heart of the helmet, you're not really controlling the helmet. So that's what we promote, that if we are controlling the EPS, you can come into our plant, see the plant and see how much of a difference an EPS has. And then we work on materials. So with you, I don't need to convince you that you need to buy ISI or EC. You'll buy a EC and a DOT certified. With you, it's more of the fact that you want to be sure that I am buying an Indian brand, which is SMK, for example. And if you were to buy a Japanese brand, to be honest, you would just pick that up, take it, pay for it and go. You have that confidence. It's a truth, but it's a bitter truth for us. When you will buy an Indian brand, right, you will do enough research on it. And that's where we tell the people, our customers, please come, visit our factory. We will show you the difference. We can test the helmet before you buy in front of you. And if you like it, you buy it. We are that open, which most of the brands are not, because they don't control everything on the helmet. Even for the graphics, for example, we print our own graphics. Nobody else prints their own graphics. So we have got control over each and everything. As far as studs is concerned, I think it comes down to the basic safety requirements that you need to make sure that you buy a BIS helmet. You make sure that it is snug fit. which unfortunately is very difficult in Indian weather to convince people who are daily commuters. Right? If I am a biker, I would go Sunday morning 5 o'clock biking. I can wear a helmet snug fit for 2 hours. That's okay. But if I am a courier guy, right, I am wearing the helmet the whole day. I can tell him you wear snug fit, but he will not buy it. So it's a practical problem also. So the least that they can do is they should tie the chin strap, the belt. That will ensure that they are safe, and that's what we tell all these guys.
Great insight, sir. Sir, now we are all under this pandemic. The market is really slow. There is a declining consumer behavior, but we all might see two-wheelers take up more traction. So with this in mind, what is your strategy for 2020 with new products, with sales? What is it, sir? Even with marketing?
So we have a lot of new products lined up. We actually have 4 new products lined up, which will be launched in next 1.5 months. They are in different price categories. One is entry level, one is actually middle level, and 2 are higher end level within studs. Also in SMK, we have a new flip up being launched, a new carbon fiber helmet being launched in India, a new Bluetooth system being launched in studs range. So a lot of new developments being in the pipeline, which will materialize in the next 45 days, I would say. As far as marketing is concerned, we would be actually doubling up our spend on marketing this year, because we think that this new ISI standard will open up a huge market for the organized helmet manufacturers and anybody who's willing to get the ISI. So it will be a big market. Currently, our estimates are almost like 30% of the market is non-ISI. Now that market will be completely up for grabs by the organized sector, and I think we would be upping our marketing spends, doubling or more than doubling, to be honest. And that would be across platforms, digital, BTL, ATL, across platforms. And as far as COVID is concerned, it's very unfortunate where we are. We're losing so many lives. And I think vaccine might be inside, but it's still about 6 months away. That's the best case scenario. And then you have to vaccinate the whole world, or at least the whole country. You're looking at another about 5 to 6 months. So 1 year before you can be away from COVID. And we feel that motorcycle market typically in this scenario would keep picking up at least for 1 year because of this COVID thing, and should be reaching the peak somewhere April, May, and then we might see it normalize again. So we would see that a huge pickup in motorcycle sales. And for us, the resale market of motorcycles is another market which people don't see because they see only the new motorcycle sales. But we see that there is a huge movement happening right now in the resale market as well.
Right. So, sir, is there any collaborations with any two-wheeler manufacturers or any international helmet manufacturers?
Yes, so we supply helmets under joint branding to Honda, Hero, Suzuki, also Honda, Hero, Suzuki, and TVS. Also, we supply helmets to Royal Enfield. And internationally, we are almost very close to working with Harley Davidson right now. But we don't have any collaborations with any helmet manufacturers because we think there is no technology which is unavailable to us at the moment, and the kind of volumes that we do, there's not a lot of value any other helmet company can bring in. Also, we might look at a collaboration for bicycle helmets. We just launched some bicycle helmets recently. Now that's a very new business for us, new business line, and we see a very big market for for bicycle helmets as well in next 3 to 5 years for us. But that's a very new line, so I don't have enough data to share with you right now.
So, sir, now ending this conversation, I want you to give a message to all the bikers who are stuck at home or probably using their bikes just to go out and get some groceries or just a small ride out. What is your message to these guys?
I think my first message is, guys, stay safe. Stay at home as far as possible. But biking is not unsafe. So if you have your own helmet, bike as far as you can go so that you don't have to take a break. and try, because biking for me is a big stress buster, and I believe for a lot of bikers is a stress buster. So go bike, enjoy your rides in this moment. You need these stress busters, and hopefully things should be pretty good pretty soon, and stay safe.
Great, sir. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you very much.